Hey guys, Sean from Living Seeds, your seed guru. Today we are going to teach you how to plant dragon fruit. We're on Living Seeds farm, as you can see, and we are planting our dragon fruit in these half wine barrels. We drank all the wine and then we decided to turn them into dragon fruit planters. The reason why we are planting it in these barrels and not planting it directly into the garden is that we go down, an average winter is -10 over here, and dragon fruit won't survive -10. They can survive a couple of points of frost. They can go down to like -5 for one morning, but then the next couple of mornings need to be above 0. So if you experience occasional frost, you can plant your dragon fruit in the soil. For us, we are planting dragon fruit in these pots because we can move these pots into one of our tunnels over winter where we can control the climate to ensure that our dragon fruit plant survives. Let's look at these two dragon fruit cuttings. So this is a variety called Physical Graffiti, and it's one of the varieties we'll be planting on our farm this year. And as you can see, it's already started to push roots out, and this guy hasn't even seen any soil yet. What's happened is that these roots have dried out, and you can see a new root is coming out again. This is another example of dragon fruit over here, and you can see just how tenacious these dragon fruit plants are. So here's one, it's put out some nice roots. You can see the roots are nice and healthy, but even more important, it's starting to grow. Let me just tell you about the setup of this dragon fruit pole. Basically what we've done is we've taken threaded bar, we've put threaded bar through here, through this post and bolted at the other side, and if you look over here, we've put threaded bar at the bottom through this side as well. So this pole is pretty well affixed to the planting bucket. The soil is mixed. With normal soil that comes off the farm, as well as an addition of our very own vermicasts. This is the Physical Graffiti that we are going to be planting on Living Seeds farm. There is one single root that is starting to come out, but we're going to take that root off and we're going to show you how to trim your dragon fruit cutting. Some people receive their dragon fruit cutting with a nice planting spike like this, and other people, the planting spike was, shall we say, somewhat lacking. So what we are going to do, I'm going to drop that one over here, I'm going to show you how to cut a planting spike on your dragon fruit cutting. So the idea over here is you're looking for about 1 to 2 centimeters of planting spike on the dragon fruit cutting. It's pretty hard to kill these things. It's actually incredibly hard to kill these things. So I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to cut down and expose the core. And as you can see, as I hit the core is actually quite hard. I can't cut through it. And what happens is my knife just slides. So there, I hit the core and my knife just slides. And all you're doing is you're exposing this core, and that's all you basically want to do, is expose the core. I think I've done it a little bit too deep, but that's not really a problem. This guy's going to grow. There literally isn't any science to planting your dragon fruit cutting. Take your dragon fruit cutting, stick it into the soil so that the green is not penetrating into the soil, and tie it up. As you can see, I've tied this dragon fruit cutting up, and I've actually tied it so tight that this piece of sisal twine has cut through the dragon plant and it is now lodged against the core. And guys, that's 100% perfect. This dragon fruit plant is going to grow. I'm going to break halfway through this video and ask you guys, if you enjoy our content from Living Seeds Farm, please like the video. It really helps our algorithm. And if you think I'm talking value into your life, please subscribe. The next one that we're going to be growing, so the first one was Physical Graffiti. The next one that we're planting is Thai True Purple. And you can see the difference between these two over here. This one was grown in the Eastern Cape by Jackie Riddle. This is a sugar dragon. And this one was grown in Gauteng by one of our contract growers. And this is Thai True Purple. But you can see that there's a serious color variation. You can also see over here that the core is showing through. And this means that this Thai True Purple was a little bit water stressed. So we are now just going into spring. These guys grown on the high veld. They've had a very dry winter, which is why they're looking like this. They are looking a little bit flat, but that's not a crisis. We will show you pictures of these dragon fruit plants as they're growing over the coming season, and how we're going to be training the dragon fruit plants, and you'll see this guy's going to bounce back perfectly. You can see that the planting spike on this guy is pretty cool, and it's a nice flat example. So we're just going to take the spike, push the spike into the soil, take our twine, wrap it round, and tie it. Job done. And you'll see that within the next couple of weeks, this plant is actually going to put roots out and sink the roots into this beam as it grows up, because that's what it does in nature. This last one that we're planting is sugar dragon, and once again the planting spike isn't quite as large as I'd like it, and there's a little bit of black myth over here. That's not really a problem. You can see there's a little bit of scarring on the actual cutting, and none of that is actually important. So all we're going to do is we're just going to clean up this planting spike just to make it a little bit longer. There we go. How fantastic is that? Now we've planted our 3 living seeds dragon fruit varieties. I've chosen Physical Graffiti, Thai True Purple, and Sugar Dragon. So the question is, what do we do now? Well, nothing. It doesn't need water. All it's going to do now is use the resources inside this cutting to produce a couple of roots, send the roots down, and the minute that we start seeing some growth coming out of the dragon fruit plant, we know it set some roots out, it's accepting water from the soil, and then we can start feeding or at least watering the soil and feeding the dragon fruit cutting. The burning question is, how do you train your dragon fruit? Cool. So what's going to happen is, once the roots come out, and it's going to set roots out here, within the next week or 2, we're going to have roots coming out of these dragon fruit cuttings. But what's then going to happen is you're going to have growth points coming out of these axils. So these axils, wherever there's little thorns coming out, it's called an axil, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a growth point coming out, and you're going to get multiple growth points coming out of this dragon fruit cutting. What you want to do is you want to have one single growth point growing up. It's pointless having 3 or 4 growing up because it's got one set of roots. It doesn't really help you. So what you want is you want one single growth point growing up, and you want to train it up this post. As you train it up the post, you just keep tying it as it's growing up to help support it while it sinks its roots into the post. What we are going to do is we are going to have a ring collar around here, and that ring collar is going to hold a framework which will allow us to take the dragon fruit cutting and allow it to hang down like this. Once it gets to about this size, or this height, we'll actually allow it to have multiple branches, or what's called cladodes. We'll have multiple cladodes coming out, hanging down, and when it hangs down, it's going to produce fruit.